Wearing masks, especially because I think like a large percentage of people that wear masks know that it's a bad idea, but they wear it because they're cowards for the most part. Like sincerely and absolutely, they're just cowards. As for the business, like you were mentioning about how many people died and all that. So my guess really is that in March and April, a shit ton of people died. By the way, I did not abide by the lockdown. I went out every single day. I was living in Portugal at the time, and it was awesome because everybody else was locked down, including the cops. I got the beach all to myself. I had a really good time. I never wore a mask. The only time I wear a mask, carry a back pocket, is if a store says we'll kick you out if you don't put it on. I have not yet once put a mask on the subway. And I've talked to probably 50 or 60 police officers around the city, and they've all said they have never, ever, ever given a ticket. I'll take the question in a second. That they've never, ever, ever given a ticket, nor would they give a ticket for anyone not wearing a mask. Now, for people who are believing the whole mask thing, let me just point out, you should also wear goggles. When you're not wearing goggles, you have the chance, supposedly, so far as this whole business is concerned, you have the chance just as much as if you're not wearing a mask of getting the disease. Nobody argues about that if COVID's around. It's getting, one second, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna finish my sentence, right? You gotta give me a minute. Shut up for a second, bro. I'll give you, in a minute, I'll let you talk.
Let the minute finish. Let him talk.
Yeah, so it comes in through the eyes. They all say that. They used to say it more. Back before they convinced everyone to wear a mask, they know they'd go a little bit overboard, a little bit insane if they said you all got to wear it in your eyes. But they all admit the same way you can breathe it through your nose, you can get it in your eyes, even easier because of the sort of mucusy thing that we got there in our iris. But don't worry, I'm not really a believer in it either. But if you believe in it, you get it through your eyes, and then you're going to kill grandma. You're going to kill grandma because you're getting it through your eyes. Anyway, so did you want to ask something over there? I'll repeat his question. Sure. Sure. So he's saying in middle school health class, they teach me different protections of your face. Go on. Sure. Right, but here's the thing. Back to your eyelashes. Your eyelashes. All right, that's really stupid. I don't even have to answer that. The eyelashes are your natural protection. Come on. Now, in terms of the deaths, I'm gonna go on here. I'm gonna go on for a second. In terms of the deaths, how many? Asshole! Stuff it up your cunt. All right, moving along. Moving along. They're all, by the way, they're all cowards. All these guys are cowards. Anytime I respond to some, no, you're good. I like your dialogue. I really do. But let me just say something with regards to numbers of deaths, and then I'll take another thing from you. But with regards to numbers of deaths, in March and April, when the whole terror was going on, and they were anybody who had coronavirus or who had any possibility of coronavirus, they were stuffing something down their throat. They were intubating them, putting them on ventilators. The stupidest fucking shit. Listen, I have spent thousands of hours visiting people in hospitals and in old age homes over the course of the last 15 years. Just for fun. I mean, I enjoy it. I like making people happy, so I do that. I don't like making people happy when they shout at me. I'm happy to kick them in the nuts. But otherwise, people who are having a hard time, I'm glad to make them happy. So I know that when you intubate someone and stuff something down their throat, they're going to die. If not of that, they're going to die of sepsis, which is basically, they're going to catch a bacterial infection. They're going to catch a bacterial infection. It's going to go to the blood. So, in March and April, a shit ton, come on, a shit ton of people, look, your opinion everyone gets to hear every single day. My opinion people don't get to hear often. That's why I'm going to keep the mic right now. All right. We all know that. Shut up, you're a child who doesn't know what he's talking about. And everyone hears your point of view every day. All right? My point of view people don't get to hear. So I'm going to get to keep talking. In March and April, a shit ton of people died because of the panic regarding coronavirus. And bear in mind, almost nobody had it then. Everyone agrees. There was very few people who had it then. Whereas now, well, theoretically, 20% of Americans have had it, according to the official numbers. 20% of Americans have had it. There's very, very few deaths. And the reason is because the panic is over. Not because a few people are wearing masks here and there, but the panic is over. And in terms of the deaths that are going on now, the CDC, Center for Disease Control, says that only 5% of people who die from coronavirus actually died without an average of 3 comorbidities. In other words, of people who died of the coronavirus, the average, according to the CDC, is 3 comorbidities. In other words, heart failure, lung failure before coronavirus, heart failure, be quiet, heart failure, lung failure, diabetes, they died with coronavirus. If anybody has coronavirus, they're counted as having died of coronavirus. The one, including some guy in Florida who died in a car accident, some guy in New Jersey who died in a motorcycle accident. The New York Times even put this guy who was murdered on their front page. On their front page is saying he died of coronavirus. He was murdered, shot to death in a car. The only guy who died with coronavirus, who is not counted as having died of coronavirus, is George Floyd. I swear to God, he had coronavirus. Not a joke. He really did. I'm not saying anything about BLM. I'm just pointing out something funny. Something humorous. Anyways, the point is, only approximately 10,000 people from May onwards, only about 10,000 people actually died of the coronavirus itself. Coronavirus is less dangerous than the various colds and flus put together. It really is. It genuinely is. Now, I will agree that if everybody is wearing a mask, fewer diseases are going to get around. Sure, if everyone is dead, fewer diseases are going to get around. If everyone is locked up in their houses, fewer diseases are going to get around. But ultimately, do you want to live that way? Ultimately, the First Amendment gives you freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, which means that Twitter shouldn't take down anti-mask stuff, freedom of assembly, none of this 6 feet apart shit. The very First Amendment that we have in the Bill of Rights is taken away. When people give into that en masse, you should have a damn good reason. You should have done your own research. Now what happened is, I'm sure you did. Now what happened is the governments all said, the governments of all the world and all the doctors around the world, they all agreed when the whole thing started in January, February, March, early March, they all said, chill out. It's going to become a dangerous pandemic if you all panic. Panic is the worst thing that can happen. But the people said, we are bored. Give us something to be afraid of. An example, by the way, in the Bible it says that you're not supposed to have a king. The Bible says if you have to appoint a king, go ahead and do it this or that way, but don't have a king. At the end of the book of Judges, by the way, I'm not really a believer in the Bible, I'm just giving this as an example. At the end of the book of Judges, it says that the people lived freely doing what they wanted without a king. Then, unfortunately, people said, give us a king because we're afraid. We're afraid. We need somebody to protect us. So he said, fine, you want a king? They got Saul, they got David and Solomon, who really enslaved them, who enslaved them in horrible ways. What happened is the people said, we want to be afraid, take away all our rights. And then the government, all the world said, sure, you want to give up your rights? We'll be happy to. Let's see how far we can go. The masks, don't get me wrong, the rich people and the government, I don't think they want this. I don't think they want lockdowns or masks. I think they want us working and working and working. But they'd rather have power than have us paying taxes. Because they can always get us to pay taxes tomorrow. But never let a crisis go to waste. Anyway, those are my general thoughts on the subject. And if someone else would like to come up and share their thoughts, that'd be nice. Thank you.
Okay, we'd like to take the opposite point of view. If anybody wants to come up, you're more than welcome. More than welcome to talk about this disease, this deadly disease that has the fatality rate of the seasonal flu. That has the fatality rate of the seasonal flu. Are you aware of that? Are you aware that Anthony Fauci told everyone that back in March in the New England Journal of Medicine, COVID-19 will have the fatality rate akin to that of a severe seasonal influenza. And so they've been aware of that the entire time.
So the reason why that's a problematic application is because although you're correct that it has the fatality rate, it has a spread rate that is far larger. So like in
That's right. It has a spread rate, and so so far, about 5,000 people have died of it, right? That's not a problem. It has a spread rate that is so great that 20% of New Yorkers are admitted to having already cleared the virus. In 10 days, they cleared the virus. They now have permanent immunity, and that is 20%. You don't need 50, 60% to have general public immunity. All you need is 30, 40%. Now, trying to suppress, do you believe that through these masks and through these lockdowns, you're able to suppress a virus? Do you honestly believe that? That you're suppressing a virus in some way? I do not believe that for 1 second. Huh? It's not either or. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Going through all of this for something with the rate of the seasonal flu, fatality rate of the seasonal flu, to me, seems a little ridiculous, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem a little ridiculous to shut down half the world, destroy New York, get 500,000 people to move out, close all these businesses, get rid of the tax base, and impoverish all these people, run up their rent bills, throw them out of work? Doesn't it seem a little ridiculous to do that for something with the fatality rate of the seasonal flu? I'd like an answer. Really. Come on. It's ridiculous, no?
Hello, how y'all doing? I'm perhaps have a little different perspective on this, but I'm going to share it anyway. You can take it or you can leave it. But I do not indulge anyone being rude. Just listen. I was born and raised in an era where people had manners. Everybody can talk, can sing together, but you can't talk together. So I'm just asking for you to listen, and you can regurgitate it or you can throw it away. That's on you. My first contention is last year sometime, I have news blackout for the last 50 years, but things seep in anyway. Last year, President Trump went to China. President Trump came back from China pitching a fit that the Chinese were something about some trade war, whatever. But he came back and he was pitching a bitch about China. And then all of a sudden, this thing broke out. My contention is, I was not there, but this makes sense to me. When he went to China, China said, for I understand China's president is no joke and his sister is worse. They said, you owe us your whole country. Your country belongs to us because of your debt, your war debt, your promissory notes. And China said, we can either bomb you or we can either take you. And my contention is Trump went with austerity. You look at the austerity, we're a failed state at this point. Not that we weren't before, but we're a serious one now. Then all of a sudden, like January, February, we kept hearing about the Chinese syndrome, the Chinese model. I mean, me with a news blackout, that's all I heard is the Chinese model. And for 3 months of the so-called virus, like the gentleman said, we didn't have to wear anything. I know because I didn't wear anything. And I'm of the age group that should have been dead, okay? But all of a sudden you have to wear it. Because my contention, as Gary says, in my opinion, the Chinese wanted to set a model. They wanted to pull rank on the United States and have the United States obey them. Because we, don't yell, we belong to China. We owe them so much money, there's no way in the world we could ever pay it. Okay, so we went into failed state status, which of course we already were. So, here we are now, the pandemic, oh, really? Come on, y'all. You're Americans, you're bright, you're New Yorkers, you're the brightest of the bright. Don't we know that a virus cannot exist outside the body? Can a computer virus jump from one computer to the next? And I know nothing.
Yes, it can.
Yes, it can?
Yes, it can.
No, it would. Okay, listen, let me be wrong, okay? But I don't know that to be true. A virus cannot live outside the body because it's symbiotic and and it is also parasitic. It needs live tissue cells in order to, wait, I said wait till I'm finished. That's what I mean. Okay? Okay, if I'm wrong, hey, listen, I said it's my opinion, okay? I'll still contend that a virus cannot live outside the body, and a virus, bacteria is contagious. A virus is not contagious unless it's in the blood. It's in molecular cellular tissue. Contest it all you want, okay? So, anyway, what I'm saying is, a virus, it was never about a virus. It was always about a flu. I met someone who said she had just got back from Italy, and that was when Italy was on blast. So many people were dying. So, she said she doesn't understand it because the people that she went to visit had just gotten their flu shot like the month September. And then it was all blowing up like at the end of the year. Make the connection. The flu shot they injected, my mama was in a nursing home. I had to fight them like tooth and nail not to give her the flu shot, not to give her the pneumonia shot. That was the prelude. All right? These people, as they say, have comorbidities. They're weak. They're dying as it is. So to build up the initial numbers, they gave them the flu shot. They gave them the pneumonia shot. And all they had to do, it didn't matter that they mixed them with quote unquote, virus patients simply because I'm still contending you cannot catch a virus. Okay? If somebody want to walk over and tell me how you can catch a virus, I'll listen. Okay? Now, wait till I'm finished. Okay, so to end it up anyway, it's all about the lockdown. Don't yell. It's all about the lockdown. It's all about the lockdown. It's all about the lockdown. Because, let me finish. Let me finish. All I asked was to finish. Don't tell me to hurry up. Just wait. Okay, where's the manners? That's what's wrong with this country. It deserves what it's going to go through because it's so daggone stupid. You have no respect. You're intellectual, but you're stupid. See, you have no manners. That's because, that's why you're bringing the wrath of God on yourself because you're being ignorant. Let me finish. I'm finishing. I didn't interrupt anyone. Wait a minute.
Let the woman talk.
All I'm saying to you is take it or leave it. We'll see what happens in the end. But it's about the lockdown. It's about the 5G and nano-activated transgenderness. You're not even, well, you know the funny thing about it is when you're rude, you're showing that you're not human anyway, when you have no manners. So they're going to officially turn you into those robotic
Well, you know what the truth is?
Genome Nazis. Okay. Transhuman, that's what it is. Listen, what's your problem? I'm finished. What's your problem? You know, when you act in ignorance, you deserve just what you get. I'm entitled to my opinion. Okay, that's all I
First of all, I would like to ask all of you where you got your medical degrees from. Where did you learn science? Where did you learn Star Wars? Is it hard? What about Dr. Judy Mikovits?
Yeah. Shut up, I'm interrupting.
So I would like you've gotten a shout out everyone right now. It's my turn to speak. So I am reading from the scientists right now, the Center for Disease Control, right? COVID-19 is spread from person to person by respiratory droplets, which are largely projected when you cough, sneeze, talk, and sing. Cloth face masks act as barriers. Shut up! Cloth face masks act as barriers, preventing those around you from inhaling these droplets. According to Dr. Burgess, who works for the CDC, if you wear a cloth face mask, you can protect others from exposure to your droplets by 60 to 95%. These are scientists speaking. You listen to the scientists. You listen to the experts. You listen to the doctors. You listen to people who have dedicated their entire life to this work. This is science. We are humanity. If all they're asking from us is to wear a mask over my mouth, I will do it. I will do it. I'm a slave to no one. I'm a human being living in society that cares about others. That cares about others. This is our obligation in society. Listen to the scientists, not people that are so enraged and ignorant. They will speak blindly about things they have not educated themselves about. Please, only listen to the experts in this. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, that was great. Can I ask you a question about this doctor that you quoted? The doctor you quoted. 50 to 90% protection against something. Does this doctor have any kind of a double-blind study to back up what he says? The answer is no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Oh, real video footage of the doctor? Does he have any? Is there any kind of a scientific peer-reviewed double-blind study that shows that masks are effective at preventing viral transmission? Even one. How many are there? The answer is none. None. They have no proof whatsoever. And this doctor, this so-called doctor that was being quoted, I guarantee you, he's a total crackpot on the pay of the pharmaceutical companies. No, I don't want to see a bunch of... Oh, you're going to show... Oh, an experiment. Can you imagine this? This is reality. They want me to watch...
It's not raining out. China!
It's a pandemic! It's a pandemic!
Viva China!
Okay.
Viva China!
Okay, thanks. Wait, yeah, you can talk 1 second. Let me tell you something. The reason I don't want to look at your video is because I've seen tons of videos of people sneezing and all their junk flowing out. We already know that. Now we have to take this conversation to another level. It's not a question of can you shut down half the world and prevent a virus from circulating. You can't do it. It is an impossible task. It will never work. It is total nonsense. The virus came through like a seasonal virus all day, like they all do. It came through in 6 weeks. It was almost completely gone by the end of April, and certainly by May. Totally gone in New York. Totally gone. On a statistical level, virtually zero coronavirus for the last 6 months in New York. Now we need to talk about this. Why are you could show me all kinds of sneezes coming out of people's mouths, illuminated by light from all around. I don't need to see that. What we need to start using common sense. We need to use common sense. Common sense will tell you. Common sense will tell you a virus, wearing a mask against a virus that doesn't exist in the New York area is a completely absurd thing to do. It's cutting your oxygen supply. It's making you sick to wear these masks. It's making you physically ill, and it is making people mentally ill as well. Okay? Thank you.
You got China!
You got no, spray his coat.
Thank you.
Spray his coat. You probably got the virus on your coat.
All right, so even if we're going to debate if coronavirus is real or not, which is completely ludicrous, because if you read, like, literally any, like, scientific journal, it's very obvious that it's real. Like, please read a source other than some bullshit pseudoscientists. Actually listen to the CDC. But I don't even want to talk about if coronavirus... I don't even want to talk about if coronavirus is real or not. I want to talk about how you all are some empathyless monsters who refuse to wear masks because you want your own individual freedom and your own individual liberty when people are dying, and a very easy solution is just to wear a piece of fabric. And if that is so difficult for you, then you are not a functioning member of society.
I just want to say a quick note. I think you guys would look really good in some like really nice masks because they've kind of been a fashion trend in Asia for like the past 10 years now. And sir, I think you would look really good in purple. I think you would look really good in green. Yeah. Also, anyways, this is a list of my favorite taxes. I'll yield the floor, but I just want to say, purely from a fashion perspective, I think you guys could look really good in some masks. It's called tech gear, it's called tech wear, and you look really badass. And sir, I think you'd rock a really awesome mask. I suggest black and purple hybrid, and for you, I suggest red and white pinstripes. All right? Thank you very much. God bless us. See you at the Vogue next year.
All right, everyone, give it up for Andy. He just named all the Power Rangers. All right. Excuse me. Okay, wait. Everybody.
Yeah,
I want to have a civil conversation. So, as we let you do, please respect the mic and let me speak without interruption. And please try not to throw derogatory terms just because you don't agree with my opinion. One thing I'd like to address some of the points that have been made. So these group of individuals here have said that the deaths that have been reported and labeled as coronavirus have purely been of cancer, diabetes, and other things like some kind of lung disease, maybe neurological disease. The reason for that is because people with pre-existing conditions are the most susceptible to coronavirus. And that's because their immune system, the thing that's protecting their body from viruses, bacteria, and other things, are dampened. They're not as strong as younger individuals. That's why you see more focus towards older individuals, the elderly, and people with pre-existing conditions. Masks, no one ever said that they prevent viruses. The thing we say is that they help reduce the chances of spreading them, and that is true. Excuse me, please, let me speak. Well, okay, so this lady here said to me earlier that she's older and she knows better than me, and yet she doesn't have the concept of respect. Wait. Everyone. Hey, I have the mic, please respect it. Please respect each other's voices. Yes, I understand this is America and you value your personal freedoms, and as you have a right to not wear a mask, even though you should, I have a right to wear one, and I have a right to tell people that it is important to wear one. Now, when it comes to the lives of individuals, when it comes to people who are dying, you do what you do to help that. If one person, New York has over 7 million people in it. If one person has a grudge against someone else and kills that person, right? Just because it's affecting one person doesn't excuse the fact that someone just died. You need to wear a mask because it helps other people. All right. Now, I'd like to hear some of the other points just so that I can refute your points with actual scientific evidence. Okay?
Okay, you're wearing a mask, right? Therefore, you are 100% protected by your mask. You are 100% protected by your mask. Otherwise, you wouldn't be wearing a mask, okay? You wouldn't be wearing your mask unless it protected you, correct? Since you're already protected by your mask, you have really no standing to be telling me what I need to do. Okay, if I want to commit suicide by not wearing a mask, that's my problem, not yours. Next point.
If you are wearing a mask and you're spreading it, are you dumb?
But I'm spreading it to people that aren't wearing masks, right, in your world, right? Right? Am I spreading it? Am I spreading it to you? You're wearing a mask. I'm not spreading anything to you. Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. First of all, everyone without a mask here is fucking retarded. The problem is you're all trying to argue with them. You shouldn't. But I think this is a good opportunity to talk to people of reasonable intelligence. My brother works here as a PA in I think Columbia Hospital in New York City. He told me a story of an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old who came into the stupid, and they want to be stupid. It makes them feel good. I mean, yeah, sure, you can call me that. That's fine. Stupid people are stupid people. Don't upset yourself with them. Don't get upset about it. And just be careful for your own sake. It's not worth it, and no one's safe. 1 in 100 is still 1 in 100. You can still die.
Yeah, I also have a cousin who's working at NYU and has been working with a lot of COVID patients, and people have been sick, and early on in the disease, there was a third part of the disease that had to do with blood coagulation, and they didn't understand it, and now they do. When this pneumonia-like disease is caught early, there are cures, and people do not die from this anymore, because we've come a long way in a number of months. But I just want to talk to you about the CDC and the WHO and the National Health Organization. Listen to me, these are corporations. They don't give 4 shits about you. What they care about is profits. What they care about are profits, and they care about their shareholders. And I will tell you, Anthony Fauci has patents on this from like 2 years earlier on the SARS, COVID, medical abuse here that's happening. That he has actual patents. That's disgusting. And Bill Gates has patents on this disease. So you kids and all you young people, you better wake up. This is about corporations that want to make money, and they want to keep everybody in fear, so you will take a vaccine that will change your DNA. Because the vaccines are filled with particles that will change your DNA from being human to something else. Okay? Something else. Wake up. This is about corporate profits. It's about shareholders. Who has shares here in any of these organizations? Anybody here? I might. Anybody here? No? On a stock exchange or privately? You have to understand that these people are not on your side. Dr. Fauci has murdered people for HIV testing 33 years ago. Where's that woman? Dr. Mikovich? Dr. Mikovich, look it up.
She worked with Fauci at the NIH for years.
That's
She's a
right.
whistleblower.
That's right.
She has a documentary called Plandemic made by Mickey Willis.
Yeah, I need to say this. Dr. Mikovich has a Plandemic. It's called Plandemic, the documentary. You guys got to look at other things, and not listen to these big corporations who are trying to manipulate us and ruin our economy, okay? Shutting down businesses is not appropriate. I just want to share with you people, I have been protesting since May at the Mayor's Park about opening business, not closing business, because this is all fabricated to make money for these big corporations and the pharmaceutical industry. So you need to wake up and look at other things. Plandemic, Shadowgate. You have to look at the documentaries that are out there and not listen to everything that's shoved in your face. There's not enough questioning by the young people in our youth anymore. You need to question things. Look at the other side. Shadowgate, Plandemic, write it down. Write it down. Look at those documentaries. They're real. They're real and what's happening. Okay, thank you.
Rock, paper, scissors? Rock, paper, scissors? Alright, thanks. Alright, so let me just say, this country is not for the people. Speaking on what she said, this country does not give a fuck about any single one of us unless you have a share or own these corporations. To be honest, we're just nothing but little pieces of shit just roaming around and feeding into their, I don't know shit. But I'm wearing a mask for people's safety and for other people's consideration. I don't want to, be walking around, maybe I get sick or maybe I get someone else sick. The truth is, I don't know, okay? And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. But the truth is also, this country doesn't give a fuck about us. Look at Malcolm X, look at Martin Luther King. They were gonna start a revolution. They weren't controlling people's mind, but they were starting something. They had to walk so we can run, and that's a fact. And to be honest, we're just all, even the people that had so much to say about it aren't even paying attention. They wanted people to pay attention, but they're not paying attention themselves. That just goes to show them, their personality. I don't like calling people out, but it's, do you really think they give a fuck about what anyone has to say when they come up here? No. But the truth is, shit, I'm just repeating the same thing over and over. I'm nervous as fuck, but all I can say is, this country doesn't care about us, and mainly what she said, everything she said is the truth. It's just all about these corporations. It's about the rich just getting richer. It's about the poor getting poor. I mean, look at, I'm sorry to say it, but the truth is, like, look at black folks in this country. How do I say it? How do I explain it? They were taking out their jobs. They were taking out factory jobs during the 60s and 70s, if I'm not wrong, right? What did that lead to? During the 70s and 80s, there was a crack cocaine epidemic. You're either gonna take it or use it, and you're gonna make money off of it. Because if you don't have a job, if you don't know the struggle, then you just don't know. You don't understand, and you should not speak on it. Because if you don't know the struggle, it's either you take this crack cocaine, or you take this crack cocaine and you slang it on the corner and make some money for your family to eat, not just to stunt. During the 90s, AIDS. During 2000s, World Trade Center collapse. I don't know for sure. I don't know. Like I said. But I know this government doesn't give a fuck about us. 3 of the 4 founding members were slave owners that created the Constitution. Explain how are they gonna make it broad for, there's natives here, there's Asians here, there's Mexicans here. There's so many races in this country, it's a melting pot. But 4 of those people that wrote the Constitution were white. I don't like making this about race, but sadly in this country, it is about race. And that's all I gotta say.
First of all, I would like to say that there's no singular cause to anything. Any of you who have the audacity to come up here and point your finger at one singular cause are here purely to massage your own ego. This is a complex issue, and the media is taking advantage of it, the corporations are taking advantage of it, but this is a real virus that is really killing people, including my friend Nick. He actually was 57 years old, and he did have pre-existing conditions. And do you know why? Because there's no singular cause to anything. Every person who dies has many issues with their health. There's no singular cause to any single death. And in fact, every death is in fact interconnected with every person that person ever knew, including my friend Nick. His death affected me personally, including his family. There are hundreds of thousands of people dying from different causes all around the world, including depression and suicide. My mom is a mental health worker. This pandemic is affecting people's mental health. This is a nuanced issue. I don't know why we can't come together in this public forum and address the fact that maybe this pandemic is real because zoological viruses have traveled with humans since our evolution. Zoological viruses, the cohabitation of humans with animals. Now, if any of you are talking about this Plandemic movie as the singular source for your information, I've only heard that, and I've been standing here for an hour, and I've heard the name of 2 doctors, and I've heard the name of 1 documentary. So it sounds like there seems to be 1 catalyst. Now, I'd like to also point out that I shouted over a few of you, and then I brought my voice in. So let's all be respectful, because if we're really trying to have a public forum, let's not embarrass ourselves. Now, I'm going to say one more thing, okay? This mask is not hurting your brain. It's not hurting your oxygen levels, because if that was so, people at higher elevations would be dumber on average than people at lower elevations. Okay, now you're embarrassing yourself, ma'am. Yes, you are. Carbon dioxide, well, let's talk about that. Do you know that carbon dioxide actually does have a relationship to intelligence? But if you're in a low ventilated room in a city, in a low ventilated room, that will actually slowly hurt you. But wearing a mask, you're not breathing in your own oxygen and carbon dioxide, because like you said, there's many holes in this mask that is big enough for a virus to get through. Okay, so how about you come up here, tell me how I contradicted myself. How did I No, it's not a contradiction because there's shades of gray. I'm sorry.
But if you want to wear one, wear one.
I like that approach. Hold on. Shades of gray. Shades of gray. So let's not think we know it all. Apparently everybody does think they know it all, including me. So what we need to do is we need to have a reasonable discussion around this. Now, I would like to just repeat this one point. This is a virus with a fatality rate akin to that of the seasonal flu. Now that is universally acknowledged that Fauci was right back in March when he said that in the New England Journal of Medicine. It's like the seasonal flu. That's the fatality rate. I'm sorry about your friend. I had a friend that died, and they said he died of COVID. I don't believe he died of COVID. I think they jammed a tube down his throat and they killed him with the tube. That's what I think. But nevertheless, let's just be reasonable and start to talk about these shades of gray and see whether it's universally acknowledged this thing has the fatality rate of the seasonal flu. And Fauci knew that 6 months ago. Now, I'd like to also mention the fact psychological warfare. Did you ever hear of the Psychological Warfare Department of the U.S. military? They're using it domestically now. The law was changed 5 years ago under Obama to remove the domestic restriction on psychological warfare. The indoctrination that has gone on nonstop around these issues, constantly pouring in this type of narrative to your minds from every single source, from the signs in the subway to the radio stations to things you get on your phone, the newspapers, everything is a massive indoctrination, according to what everybody believes. Now, what we're saying is, I like this guy, what he said, shades of gray. We don't believe all that story. And the first step is, let's address the issue. It has the fatality rate of the seasonal flu. Lots of people have died, that's right. But just be on that one point. Could kill ourselves? Do you know that there are sociologists that have studied in the last 6 months, 10 times the number of people have died from the lockdowns around the world because they are depressed, they're locked in their homes, they're losing their jobs. 10 times the number of people. This is sociological studies that have come out in major universities. 10 times the number of people are dying of the lockdowns. Can we continue to have these lockdowns? That's really the issue that we ought to be talking about. Or should we come to a more reasonable way of dealing with this situation? All right, so I'd like people to talk about those things, and that's it. Oh, okay.
Can I have some hand sanitizer, please? If you guys have this spray, if not, that's fine. As someone who has gotten depression from COVID, it's not because of the virus and it locking me down. It has to do with personal things that happen in my life, my family life, how we come together. That has nothing to do with the virus. It has something to do with childhood, which we should care more about than wearing your mask or not, Life is more about how we are mentally than we are, we should care about wearing our mask because a lot of people are going to suffer mentally more from getting the virus, from having people die, from struggling to even get out of bed, And this lady who's wearing all purple was talking about some 5G shit, talking about how that's how trans people are made or whatever, which is so stupid. I mean, how can you correlate how someone feels and how someone expresses their sex or wants to be a different sex from some 5G signals? That has nothing to do with it. It doesn't make it. It doesn't do anything about it. Oh, because you were saying transgender first.
Transhuman.
Okay. And wearing a mask, it shouldn't be like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask, freedom of speech, whatever. Like, I have your right. No, it should just be you caring about your community. As the old lady said, oh, care about your community, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so wear a mask. Doesn't mean that you still don't believe in it or you believe in it, just wear it. Like, it's just human decency. Yes, but we also came as a community to get our rights, right?
If it's blocking outcome and it's also blocking income, it's not a one-way message.
No, this mask is two ways, of course. I understand, but it also decreases the chance of getting it. And I don't know where that old lady. I don't know where that old lady is. But she had some truth to what she said about. Sorry, can I speak, please? About corporations not giving two shits about us, because it's true. Marketing, capitalism is the root of all evil. Money, how we give so much power to money, but that's also, money is a human construct. So we're the ones leading it on. We can stop it. We can stop it whenever the fuck we want. We can all decide we don't give a shit about money. So you can't just say it's the corporations, because we fuel the corporations. Okay? So that too. And also, this isn't our fucking land to begin with. It's the Native Americans. We did genocide on them. Like, I don't understand why you guys are just like, America. Like, look at other fucking countries. They don't have to wear masks anymore like you want. Because why? They wore it for 2 damn weeks only. For 2 fucking weeks. And then never again. I mean, of course, if it increased, they're gonna wear it. But now they don't have to like we do. They're not locking down or anything. They're enjoying their winter in fucking Australia, in China. The place I got it is literally maskless. That's because we're so ignorant into caring about our personal opinion, our personal speech, whatever, that we don't realize that this is a community thing. It's a community problem. This is a community. Whether we like each other or not, this is a community. We live with each other. You work for, I can get a good education for your taxes could help the city, you know? So you're helping all of us, and I'm getting an education, so in the future you can retire and you can do whatever the fuck you want with your life. But that's not gonna happen if we don't take more care of the community, okay? So big corporations also include the meat industry. So if you guys care about all these big corporations, don't shop at them. Don't shop at their affiliate corporations. And don't eat meat. Bye.
Now, I'm a man of science. I like science. And I would like to know what science backs you and what scientist lies amongst you that proves you right. Because those studies have proven that these masks reduce the risk of carbon dioxide. You don't get carbon dioxide poisoning. That's false. Not only that, but this isn't planning by Fauci or anybody else. No science backs you. No real science backs you. Not only that, but disinformation has increased throughout the social media throughout the years. Coming from Russians, the Chinese, all these bots coming in to prove, putting in disinformation through Facebook, and you guys are the sole victims of that. Governments of Russia and China have put these disinformation throughout Facebook and all these social medias that you older people have followed.
Okay. As far as I know, there is no scientific evidence that masks reduce viral transmission. Where are your studies that show that? Where are they?
Studies of
I gotta say something. Hold on, I'm sorry, man. Listen, I wanted to say something real quick, and I had wanted just to recognize Eric for doing this great public forum. Okay, so let's give him a round of applause. You know, the gentleman, he's talking about the United States government, this, the United States government, that. Listen, we're the United States government. Every one of us, we comprise the United States government. The politicians, listen to me, the politicians, they are employees. They work for us, okay? They're not the government. Everybody say it is a Grinch and Blasio is a Scrooge, okay? And you know what? And the mainstream media, I'm gonna say this and shut up, because I know you want to go on. The mainstream media. Check this out. Anybody want to be an anchorman, a news reporter?
all you need is one qualification. You ready for this? Do you know how to read? Can you read from a teleprompter? That's all the qualifications you need. Okay, and MSNBC, you could get a great job at MSNBC, CNN. They give you the teleprompter. They give you, somebody reads the script, and you read it. And they're highly paid. Do you know that Rachel Maddow gets paid $30,000 a day? Did you know that she pushed this bullshit Russian collusion? Did you say for 3 fucking years? And I'm not gonna say another F-bomb. For 3 years, and you know that she's a Rhodes Scholar. Do you know she knows she's lying, but she lies anyway on behalf of the deep state. She on behalf of her corporate masters. And I want to say something. MSNBC, they don't care about black lives. It's all about ratings. I can't hear it. Eric, what happened over here? Okay, the last thing I want to say is that Donald Trump should, can you hear me? Should pardon Julian Assange, and he should pardon Edward Snowden. Thank you very much.
I'm done with that.
There have been several proven studies by the CDC, by Mayo Clinic, showing that masks don't give you carbon dioxide poisoning. Now, I admit I'm a bit nervous because it's my first time public speaking, but which one of you amongst you is a scientist? Which one of you can give me some real deep science about this and actually argue against me?
I'm not listening to any scientists. Do you realize how many scientists are total crackpots? Total crackpots, and their scientific studies don't prove anything. They have a lot of garbage studies, just rubbish. And those that have no common sense, listen to scientists. Like Joe Biden said, I will listen to the scientists. He, as supposedly becoming president of the United States, is going to be such a cuck and such a schmuck as to sit there and listen to these crackpots tell him what kind of judgments to make about the welfare of the people of the United States. That represents a man who believes does not believe in his own common will, his own common sense and his own common will. Anytime you talk about these scientists, you must realize there are many different opinions about these scientists. These scientists hold completely opposite opinions about from Dr. Fauci. Take a look at Dr. Dolores Cahill, the great Irish physician, who is telling you everything they're saying is complete bullshit, okay? And she is eminently qualified as a scientist. So there are many different opinions of scientists, but as a man and as a citizen of the Republic of the United States, we must make decisions, and we must form our opinions based on our common sense and all the knowledge that we can gather, not just say we're going to listen to some scientist. Okay, so let's get off this scientist bullshit, because otherwise we're going to go out of our mind.
So I just want to also comment about carbon dioxide. You guys say that these masks have holes big enough to fit viruses that are at the nanometer scale through them. So why would carbon dioxide not also fit through that mask?
Let me answer that. Try taking a deep breath in one of your masks. Oh, you're taking deep breaths in one of your masks? You can't do it. You cannot draw a deep breath in your mask. Obviously, the masks are cutting your they're cutting your oxygen levels. It's obvious, okay? Your sensibility, your senses can tell you when you wear these masks, it is cutting your oxygen levels. And there are, in fact, studies that show that masks, especially cloth masks, are cutting your oxygen supply. We're not saying they're giving you carbon dioxide poisoning. People are not dropping dead from wearing masks, but it is cutting your oxygen supply. And in young children, especially in young children, this can be a major problem. A major problem. You see these people so indoctrinated by these newspapers that putting these masks on little tiny babies. This is a form of insanity, man, and it's being driven by these newspapers and the constant propaganda and rubbish that's being repeated every day all over everywhere you go.
Another question I have is, why do people from high elevation not have lower intelligence levels than people from lower? Because at high altitude there is less oxygen.
You become acclimated to the oxygen level. Okay, once you go up in the mountains, it takes you about a week or two, and then your body adapts to the oxygen level. That's what happens, yeah.
So if we adapt to oxygen levels in the mountains, why wouldn't we adapt to oxygen levels through masks?
Because you're rebreathing your own exhalations. It's like shit coming out of your body. It's piss. It's garbage. You're exhaling it. There are all kinds of problems with that. All of the latent viruses in the exhalations are being rebreathed in. There's all kinds of problems with it. The main problem with it is it's totally unnecessary. They're making you do something. They're making you do it on the basis that you must do this because we are telling you, they're doing it as an obedience training exercise. It's an exercise in obedience training, and it is based on a totally anti-logical principle. You wear a mask. You're 100% protected by your mask. You guys are wearing masks. There's nothing I can do to infect you. You're protecting yourselves. You have no standing to be telling me I need to cut my oxygen supply and not breathe the clean air because you are totally protected. You have no standing to tell. It's a very important point. Very important point, because the next step is going to be you people are going to take these shit garbage vaccines that they're putting out, and then you're going to turn around and to look at everyone around you and say, force those people to take this garbage that I'm injecting into myself. That's the next step in this ridiculous form of thinking. Not everybody has to wear a mask, okay? Because you protect yourself. That's your decision. You don't understand what freedom is about. I don't need to wear a mask. If you think I'm committing suicide, that's your problem. But I am not going to take your garbage vaccines. I am not going to wear your masks. I am not going to do anything. And I am not endangering you in any way, shape, or form. You're going to have to take me to court and prove that I am spreading some kind of disease in the open public, to the open public. You prove that in court, and you'll never be able to do it because it's not true.
One more thing, in the cholera epidemics and the earlier epidemics in human history, people said the same thing about hand washing.
What do you mean?
Just meaning that people that worked in cleaning and with food, that were able to be spreading any kind of disease were opposed to the idea of hygiene because they thought it was restricting their personal freedom. And I'd like to just say that I would not enforce a mask via fine. I would just hope that the American public was educated enough to know that you can take your mask off, for example, when you're outside and no one's around you. And I do think that it is insanity that we think we have to wear masks all the time, because when I'm taking a stroll and no one's around me, I take my mask off. If I'm speaking next to a mic that maybe over 60 people have spoken into, maybe I will wear my mask. If I walk into a grocery store, I'll wear it. But I personally don't believe that wearing a mask, for one, is a 100% solution to COVID. And I think it's poor public understanding of science that's led to the understanding that masks are the only way to mitigate COVID, because it's actually it's multifaceted. And I think people should have the freedom to not wear masks when they're walking outside freely, if they're not around anyone. And I think that we have to, again, see this in shades of gray and understand that the mask is only one part of the solution, and it's not even a solution, it's just harm mitigation.
That's pretty good. Interesting. Yeah, you got me stumped on the hand washing thing. Let me think about that for a day or two. Now this is something that in culture it has been found to greatly avoid diseases by washing hands. People that work with food that other people are gonna eat, all of that is, I think, well established. So that's good. Do you want to say anything else?
One last thing. If people had listened to the government and actually social distance and all these precautions, we wouldn't be the place we were now. Thousands are dead. And if we look at countries like New Zealand, South Korea, China, well, they all listen to the government. And look how many cases they have now, especially New Zealand. I have friends there who are free, who go to stadiums and all that. You don't have to worry about COVID anymore because there's no cases there. If we had listened in the first place, that we wouldn't be in this place. We wouldn't have people complaining about vaccines or wearing masks and all that. We wouldn't even have this. We wouldn't even be in this point if we had listened in the first place.
We're in the same place as all those other countries. We are in the same place. All these cases are just bullshit. You don't realize that? They're coming up with all this nonsense by giving people PCR tests that don't test for COVID. They do not test for COVID. They have a 90% false positive rate. That's according to the New York Times. It's complete garbage. We are in the same place. Chinese are not interested in destroying their own country. But the American politicians and the media are interested in indoctrinating you so that you will go out and destroy your own country with all of this nonsense. Okay, and that's what they're doing. We are in there. There is no surge of cases. They are not cases. They are test results. Test results, they're totally meaningless. Your tests are meaningless, and they're using it in order to bring down the United States completely, destroy it. That is what they're doing. And those that are so indoctrinated by this constant repetition of all of these points about, oh my God, we're like heartless monsters, we're not wearing masks and all of this rubbish. You know, as I say, make up your own mind. You want to wear a mask, that's fine. You have no standing to tell me whether I need to do anything. You're protecting yourself with your vaccine, go right ahead. I don't need it. I've never needed a flu vaccine. I don't need your other garbage vaccine either. All right, so that's we're going to make a stand on that. And do other people want to talk? Come on up. Yeah, come on up.
What Scott is saying is true. They're collapsing the economy on purpose. And if you think that they're not doing that and they know that they're doing that on purpose. So, you know, and then they shame you. You know, where's the Rosa Parks today? You know, Rosa Parks said everybody at that time, you were supposed to sit at the back of the bus. And it's the same thing. It's an analogy. The mask, the muzzle ritual mask, you know, shaming, you know, what is it, the ritual mask? Muzzle, the ritual mask muzzle, right? There's something occult about that, right? But I want to say that what Scott was saying is true. They're collapsing the economy on purpose, you know. And the fact of the matter is that they know that that's what they're doing, okay? And that's un-American. And okay, who's gonna speak? Who's gonna speak? Go ahead.